Buns, Burgers, Big Ideas listeners, welcome back to another episode in the studio here. I am once again joined by my guest co-host over here, Mr. Nick.
Welcome, everybody.
Yes, thanks for being here, Nick. And keeping it rolling once more with the guests. We have Carmen with us today.
Hello.
Woo!
Carmen is an operations consultant for us and has been in other roles in the past.
Yes.
So thanks for being here, Carmen. Tell us about yourself and kind of your journey.
So I started McDonald's when I was 18 at the Woodstock location.
Okay.
Started as a crew member and worked overnights for a couple months.
Overnights?
Yeah.
Nice. All right.
A couple months turned into actually a couple years. I became a manager a year into the job. Became the overnight manager. And then I realized that I wanted to get out of that. And so I became the dinner manager.
Nice.
Eventually left that location, worked for a different owner-operator, came back to Woodstock, and then started training for general manager when I met Chris Baxter.
Nice. We had Chris Baxter on the cast a couple weeks ago. So, it's also cool to hear his story too, from that transition in his career. So, so you're becoming a general manager, training to be a general manager. What next?
And then I was at the Algonquin location for 5 years. Actually, just announced the new GM there on Monday.
Nice.
So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. It was emotional. I had that conversation with everyone of like, hey, like, I've had 2 managers that have been with me for the 5 years of like, hey, you guys did great 5 years. You're going to do great for many more years, but I'm moving on.
Nice. Yeah, I bet there was a lot of emotion for that.
Yeah.
That's 5 years is a long time.
It is.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm now the operations consultant for Hampshire, Elkhorn, and Burlington at the moment.
Nice. So 3 restaurants
Yes.
under your belt?
Yes.
Nice. How's that? How's it feel?
It's been a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah.
I've been into reading and listening to podcasts. And I was listening to one that said that leaders who transition into a new role aren't successful if they continue doing what got them promoted.
I think that's true.
Can't always do what you always did.
Yeah. And it really like clicked with me of like, I don't run the restaurant anymore and I'm not going to be successful and the managers I'm helping aren't going to be successful if I come in and I run it for them.
Yep.
Absolutely. And you kind of hit the head on why we don't really have supervisors at Iron Arch anymore, because supervisors were running the restaurants for their general managers and there's no development happening.
Yeah.
And so that's what's super cool about consultants now is we actually have that opportunity to actually coach and develop the GM into somebody who can run the restaurant.
Yes.
Nice. Well, that sounds really cool and that sounds awesome. And you've been with Iron Arch for going on what, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
So we're glad to have you.
Thank
and,
you.
We're excited to talk some leadership stuff today with you. We don't have a video today, but Carmen, what are a couple of things you wanted to talk about?
I went through a journey where I did a lot of personal growth, and I had to sit with myself and be honest with myself of where am I going, and if what I'm doing is that going to get me there, like what I'm currently doing, or do I need to change my habits? So I had to be really honest with my team, right? Because for a time, I wasn't performing, and I wasn't being a good leader.
You were just working alongside them.
Yeah. It was just get up and get through the day, and if we make it, that's great. If we didn't, then hopefully tomorrow is better, right? But I had to really sit and have a conversation with everyone of, I understand I haven't been the leader that you guys need, and I apologize. And I want to go through and I want to have that conversation with everyone of what do you need for me to become a better leader? And then I was able to take that feedback and listen to everything they said and then have a conversation of, okay, this is what I need from you so that I can do that.
It's a lot of great stuff in there.
Yeah, there's a lot of great. So
We could talk for a long time about that.
yeah, that's pretty deep. That's awesome.
It was,
and
yeah.
the one thing that really struck to me what you said was you had to learn to take care of yourself first. And in almost every leadership book, podcast, person that's successful in leadership will tell you can't care for your team if you don't care for yourself first. So maybe just tell us a little more about that. And maybe not in the great details of what you did, but the impact it had on you.
Yeah. So I had to, in a sense, set boundaries with them, right? Like I had to,
Yeah.
yes, I'm running the restaurant and yes, I'm available at any time that you need. But if you're calling me because there was a customer complaint that you could have handled or anything that you could have messaged me so that I'm prepared next time I come into the restaurant, instead it was like I was getting phone calls all day long and I would panic and I'd have to answer the phone and be like, is the restaurant okay? And it was just like, oh, we had a customer complaint, but it's handled. And I was like, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks for doing your job.
Right.
So we had to have that conversation of, if it's an emergency, call me, because then I know it's an emergency and I'll answer quickly. If I can, I'll call you back. If it's you want to tell me how your day was, send me a message. I will get back to you.
Yeah.
Right? So setting those boundaries with them had to be really important because then I was able to go home and disconnect.
Yep.
And focus on that.
Yeah.
That personal side, personal growth.
So really the first thing you did was draw that hard line in the sand of the separation of work and at home life or personal life, because I think a lot of leaders have that problem. And
the line blurs a lot.
yeah, and sometimes it depends on. I think it depends on everybody and where they're at in their leadership level or role or experience. Sometimes we feel that we have to always be there, like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. I have to be available. And if I'm not available, I'm not doing my job. When honestly, it's like you said, it's the opposite. Like, do your job in the allotted time that you're supposed to do it, but then also disconnect and refresh. And it's only going to empower your team that they can do their job and they can, you trust them to do the mistakes that they're going to make, which is awesome.
Because, I mean, I wasn't disconnecting when I was going home. I was always checking my phone. I was always, what are they doing? Like, if they would call me, my first reaction was to look at the cameras.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I had to get away from that because it just wasn't healthy for me.
Sure.
And then I'd come into the restaurant and I didn't want to be there because
you were worried about it last night. Yeah.
So it was a process, but it worked. It got my team to.
So tell me more about how it worked after doing that. What shift did you see in your restaurant?
There was obviously some redirecting. It didn't happen overnight.
Never does.
And it was, hey, like we're gonna message on Slack so that you're not blowing up everyone's phone, right? I don't like group text messages.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Slack, if I go in there, I see it. Otherwise, it's not blowing up my phone. And I would still have people text me, and I would respond on Slack.
Good. That's a good one.
Right? Because I was like, no, I set that boundary of this is where we're going to talk.
So you're talking about the results of your team.
Yes.
And you saw this shift. It didn't happen overnight, but things were changing.
Yes.
In the team. And you were, like, your leadership was changing too at the same time. So that had to be kind of a cool transition with that.
Yes.
And so what happened? So fast forward then, expectations are set. Everybody knows the boundaries. Like, how did that?
You were changing your behaviors.
Yeah.
Yes.
The restaurant started to perform, right? I was holding them accountable for their position and what they were doing. They knew the targets. They knew how to communicate them because every time we talked about communication, it was, okay, this is how it's going to be communicated. And I started asking different questions, especially on our one-on-ones with the assistants. Okay, this is what we're going to communicate to the team. How are you going to do it? By when are you going to do it? Mm-hmm. And then how do I follow up with you to make sure it happened?
So it's funny you say that because last week Jamie was on the podcast and she said she's asking her team more questions. And it's cool how just as you're building your leadership skills and building that muscle, you're just by asking questions, you're becoming a better leader because it gets them involved.
Yes.
So I just wanted to make that, it was cool that Jamie.
Yeah. She also mentioned, too, that something that Jamie said, too, is she's sitting down and having one-on-ones with her people. Mm-hmm. Maybe Jamie didn't say that exactly, but she did say that she's having more and more conversations with the skills that she learned from HU. And it's great that now we've heard that's two things. Yeah. That's two success stories in a row about having conversations with their people, which is awesome.
So obviously that's the restaurant, right? That's
yes.
the general manager role. And I imagine now in this new role, you've had to do some more developing yourself. But how have those skills translated and kind of moved into this new role?
I'm fairly new into the role, right? I've only been in it for 2 months. But I came into it wanting to do it for them. And I remember I was with Tom one day, and he was like, hey, did they check the cooler to make sure it was emptied? And I was like, I'll be right back. And he was like, no, ask. And it like had me stop and think, and I was like, I can't do it for them. So as I'm going, I'm learning that I can explain it and I can show them the whys without doing it for them.
And it sounds like you have to trust them a little bit too. And is that scary sometimes?
No.
Okay.
I feel like they're in the role. They've been doing it for a while, and they've been trusted a restaurant. You know, they're running a business. I'm there to help support, not change them. Right? Like they already know what they're doing. Just need a little direction sometimes.
Little coaching, little direction.
Yeah.
We all need coaching. Nick needs coaching every day.
Absolutely. And somebody said it to me, maybe I've heard it many times, but it's like, I have no reason not to trust you yet.
Yeah.
So always lead with trust. And then when I can't trust you, I just trust you a little bit less.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll ask you twice to check the cooler.
Maybe I have to.
Or maybe
come
I
every
ask for a
day.
picture.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Trust but verify.
Yes.
Yes.
You mentioned the difference between your general manager role and your new role. Tell me about some of the hardships with communicating with those 3 different restaurants.
Everyone's different, right? And the kind of feedback or conversations that I would have with you are going to be different, the kind of feedback and conversations I'm having with you. So it's getting to know the general managers and how I can talk to them and what they need from me. That really helps develop that. So I'm still in the process of like trying to figure everyone out and kind of do that.
Well, you said that initially when you were taking the time to develop yourself in your restaurant, you had those same questions, right? How can I help you? Here's what I need from you.
Yes.
Those boundary setting conversations. But it also reminds me of the platinum rule. So the platinum rule is to treat others the way they want to be treated. And the golden rule is treat others the way you want to be treated. Now, I might want to be treated way differently than you want to be treated, Nick.
Right.
So that's why the platinum rule is definitely more along the
Yeah.
lines of what you are going through right now with your teams.
And again, been doing a lot of research and a lot of reading and stuff. I actually last week just sent them a message and was like, hey, I'm still new in the position. We're still learning about each other. I'm going to send you 5 questions, and you don't have to answer them now. We'll sit and, we'll schedule a one-on-one. And the questions are, what does feedback look to you? And how do I provide that? One of the questions was, what kind of relationship do you want us to have, and how do we get there? Just to kind of try and understand them a little bit more and really be able to mold myself to what they need individually.
Which is what a great leader would do.
Yeah, what would you call that? Like, what did you do? Or what kind of a action did you take? Or what kind of a... I'm trying to tell you without giving you the answer.
Yeah.
And it's a lot harder than I when you listen and you just come up with something and then you try to answer, it's a lot harder than I expected. So write that down. That typically doesn't happen for me. So what did you just display as a leader? Being what? By asking your team, hey, I'm new at this role. Like, what did you just do?
Honesty, it was...
Honesty, you were what? Being... Vulnerable. Yeah. So tell us more about that.
Yeah.
Like, years ago, that was horrible as a leadership.
Well, and
You're
it's
never
too,
vulnerable.
though.
Right.
You have to know everything, be there 24/7.
Yeah.
Right.
All these just insane expectations of
Right.
the industry and just leaders in general, like you said.
It's almost like
I didn't want to go into the restaurant like that, right? Because I didn't want to go in and be like, I know how to do everything. I don't know how to do everything. Put me in the grill, and I probably will not be able to keep up with your
Hey,
team.
listen, I'm really good at fries, I've been told. So.
well,
could
that's not
present.
taking yourself too serious.
Yeah.
That's as leaders, a lot of times that happens to us. I'm the leader. I have to ride the biggest horse and be the tallest person in the room. No, you don't. Be vulnerable a little bit. Obviously, control the vulnerability, but we're all humans. We all have to treat each other with humility, and yeah.
But I think it opened up great conversations because, again, I did it with my team in Algonquin. I know I haven't been a good leader.
Stretch that.
I want to be a good leader, so what do you need from me? Right?
And I really like those questions that you ask them, because not only is that going to build trust and like respect with them, but again, they're also going to be like, wow, I've never had a leader ask me that question. Or I've never had somebody, ask me how I want feedback. And now they're thinking about that. And then now they're asking their team, hey, how do you want feedback? Because, it's completely different than, hey, here's a phone call and I'm going to yell at you.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, here's a direct text message.
And that might take months or years to get to that rapport when you're turning into days. Like literally, this is what I want to do, and we're going to do it in the next couple days in these calls, which is great.
That's great.
Because some people won't be vulnerable and they won't jump. I always say decades into days. Like, how do we turn decades into days? You're turning years into month into days, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's very cool. Well, before we kind of wrap up, Carmen, thanks again for coming.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
It was a great conversation, as always. We have a lot of fun here in the studio. For our team that's listening, or for really anybody, what is one thing that one piece of advice or one thing that you would tell them, moving through their leadership journey?
You have to be honest with yourself, and you have to take care of yourself. And it's different for everyone, but find something that you like and stick with it, right? And the people you surround with yourself. Somebody's going to be negative. Is that really the people that you want to have with?
Yep. That's awesome, Carmen.
Thank you.
Once again, thanks for coming on. And it was a pleasure. And we look forward to talking to you again sometime.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Listen, learn, lead. We will see you next time, BX3. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us on Buns, Burgers, and Big Ideas. We hope today's episode inspired fresh ideas for your leadership journey. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and keep learning with us as we continue to explore leadership in the QSR world. Until next time, take care and lead well.